Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Southern Sandpiper. I'm your host, Kenny. Today, I want to talk about one of my favorite freehand pipes, and that is the Karl Erik freehand I'm holding right here. I love the angles on this. I love the grain. I love the little nubs from the plateau on both the top and the shank. Even being a denture wearer, it's light enough where I can clench this pipe without a tip. But that's why I generally use a tip if I'm trying to clench. Being a denture wearer, it's hard, but I can still get away with this. I'm smoking some Lane 1Q mixed with a 50%, so 50-50 split of Lane 1Q with Lane BCA. For those of y'all who have never done that mix, if you like aromatics, do it. To me, it improves the 1Q, and 1Q is already the best-selling aromatic out there. BCA seems to enhance it. Mixed together, it gives a beautiful, beautiful color. Blacks and deep reds. Oh, and the smell is just heavenly. I usually get enough to mix a big jar of it, and you can tell how much I enjoy this. I mixed this jar probably last June, so June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. So we're about 8 months into this now. This is the beginning of February. And good stuff. It is marketed by probably every tobacco shop out there, usually under their own name. Some will even claim it as their own blend. In my opinion, and you know what they say about opinions, in my opinion, for those who are fans of the Boswell's Best blend, to me it tastes exactly the same as Boswell's Best. Tinderbox used to have a mix that I will swear was the same, and most tobacco shops I've been into in their bulk tobaccos, and they usually will have some esoteric name or maybe something Hobbit related that they are calling this particular blend. It's just like mixing a vanilla or like 1Q with liquid cherry. You know, that's another very common one. Lane Berry Cherry with Lane 1Q. I believe a lot of people even call that like Hobbit weed. But there are lots of mixtures of just taking regular tobaccos that are already blends and mixing them together that actually will improve them. And like I said, it's lovely. Most of the time, I do enjoy my English blends. I have been primarily an aromatic smoker most of my life. Like many of us, I started my tobacco journey smoking pipes with an aromatic. I cannot tell you the first one I ever smoked, but it probably was something like this, if not this, just under a different name. But the smell of this, the room note, even out here I smell it. I'm sitting out on my side porch right now, and I go inside and I can even smell it drifting inside the house, and it is just a wonderful smell. You're not going to get complaints from the wife. You're not going to get complaints from friends. You're probably not even going to get complaints if you're out in public smoking this. Everybody's going to be like, oh, That's a lovely smell. Oh, that reminds me of my grandfather. That is probably one of the most common things I hear when I'm smoking. Is my grandfather was a pipe smoker, and that reminds me of what he used to smoke. I get that line a lot. So it's one of those great blends if you are trying to maybe just kick back and relax and start, I don't know, reminiscing and thinking of different times or your youth or maybe of your grandfather or an uncle or someone who used to smoke a pipe that maybe helped to influence you on becoming a pipe smoker. One of the complaints I hear from some on aromatic is that aromatics are meant for those around you, but not for the smoker. And for those who smoke, we smoke things like English and Virginias and vapors and a variety of other tobaccos that are meant for the serious smoker. Hogwash. There is nothing wrong with any tobacco you choose to smoke. If you enjoy it, that's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what other smokers think. It definitely doesn't matter what guys on Reddit or on Facebook or on YouTube are telling you, oh no, you're not a real pipe smoker if you don't smoke an English blend. If you enjoy it, smoke it. And as far as flavor and taste, I get great taste from many of the aromatics. I make my own chocolate blend, and sometimes if you have followed me on Facebook, on any of the groups, you'll see me make a post smoking my own blend today. I have a chocolate that I mix. I have an English that I mix out of several others. I took Eric James' recipe for his own version of Frog Morton, and I had tweaked it, and I now call it like Frog Morton Resurrection, but it was basically his recipe mixing Lane HGL and Stokeby's English Luxury in a jar, 50-50 mix, let them marry for a month or so, and then smoke them. To that, I just add a little bit of blackened Virginias by Sutcliffe, some red Virginias, a little bit of extra Latakia, and I've just tweaked his recipe some. But I've learned a lot of blending other tobaccos from just watching other YouTubers and trying different things. This particular blend, I don't even remember how I learned about this particular blend, but I do remember someone telling me, oh, this is the same as this, go ahead and try blending it. And I did, and I loved it. Flavor profile. Let's get into this for a minute. You can definitely taste the toppings. I'd be a liar to you if I told you any differently than that. But I can also taste the Virginias. I can get that creamy mouthfeel from the stove Virginias, as well as from the black Cavendish that's in here. I get vanilla, I get caramel, I get hints of chocolate. It's a delightful smoke. I can sit here and smoke a whole pipe of this in a really short period of time. just delicious sometimes to this mix. Let's see. I don't want to make myself too longer. Aha! But I will keep a little bag of Latakia, and sometimes I won't even measure it. I will just start off with 10% or so, and I will crumble some up and add to a little pile of this, and I will tweak it based upon smell and taste if I want to make my own kind of aromatic Latakia blend, or some would call it a aromatic English. And it's actually really, really tasty. Now, a few notes that I will tell you on smoking an aromatic. Here I go preaching again about drying. Dry. I will let something like this dry probably out if I'm buying, let's just say for example, I buy 4 ounces of each. 4 BCA, 4. I will let them dry out basically in the bags that they were shipped to with the bags open for a day. It's not going to dry them out a lot. If I was to spread them out, that would dry them out a lot. But it's going to dry them out kind of enough. I will see if they feel goopy. If they feel goopy, and I haven't noticed that with these tobaccos, but anytime I get a goopy tobacco, I'll put them between sheets of paper towels. I will give them a good squeeze. I will then let them dry a little bit more. And when I get to a moisture content that I feel is good, which is basically, I want them to kind of stick together a little bit, not a lot. I don't want them to feel really oily or really goopy. There is, I don't know if you can see, it's still a little goopy. So you have to let them dry, because if you don't, and if you smoke these too quickly, you're going to get the tongue bite. So one of the biggest complaints that guys talk about in the aromatics is tongue bite. And most of that tongue bite, in my opinion, comes from the moisture. I mean, think about this for a minute. Just common sense, guys. You have a high moisture content. And if you start smoking a pipe with a high moisture content, you are evaporating off that moisture as you're smoking the pipe. And that warm water vapor is what is causing the tongue burn. That, I think, in combination with some of the chemicals, some of the stuff used in the toppings is very much like in a vape liquid. They use PG. I don't know if they use VG at all. PG is used as a flavor carrier for a lot of flavors. That's why many vaping liquids were a combination of PG and VG. Polyglycol and vegetable glycerin are usually in vaping liquids, and the same thing is usually added as a flavor for the carriers before they're sprayed on the toppings of the tobacco. So you get a little of that sticky goopiness, and that's why I try to squeeze as much of that out. I do find the Lane tobaccos and Sutliff tobaccos to be heavier on toppings than, let's say, a European tobacco that is topped. Like Mac Baren. You know, vanilla cream, not heavily topped at all. American tobaccos tend to have a little bit more of that. But again, properly dried, it's a wonderful, wonderful smoke. Sipping it slow is also a key. When I'm holding a pipe, I sit like this a lot when I hold a pipe because being a denture wearer, I don't clench frequently. And I've mentioned before, kind of a habit I developed is to take this part of stem and kind of catch it on my teeth. Pulling ever so slight as I'm inhaling through my nose. As I'm inhaling and exhaling, I'm pulling the smoke through and just letting it fill up my mouth. That's how I get the most amount of flavor, for me, out of an aromatic blend as well as an English blend. I'll be honest with y'all, I get a lot more flavor when I smoke without my dentures in, but y'all don't want to see that. I am not going to make videos that way. But many times if I'm home, especially in the morning when I first get up in that morning, cup, I'm having my coffee. Yes, coffee for Santa. When I'm having coffee and I'm having a pipe, my very first pipe in the morning, usually before I get up and kiss the wife and pour, well, usually I'll still go pour a cup of coffee. I'll come out here with a cup of coffee and I'll have my first pipe of the day, and I don't have my dentures in, and I really find that smoke very enjoyable. Same thing late at night when I usually have my last pipe of the night, and I find I get more flavor that way. But it's one of the reasons I kind of developed kind of this smoking style that I have. Of how I hold my pipe, because it tends to fill my whole mouth, my gums, every area, so I get a lot more flavor. It makes me taste it much more. Back to this Karl Erik for a moment. When I first seen this pipe, I just fell in love with it. The Pipe Wiki, when you pull up Karl Erik, you will actually see this pipe, this exact pipe, this pipe, not one similar to it, this pipe, as one of the photos listed for Karl Erik, because the gentleman I bought this from is an eBayer who he supplies many of the photos, and this was one of the pipes, I guess, in his collection or that he was selling, and he used in the photos that was supplied there, and it is gorgeous. It was not an expensive pipe. If my memory serves me, and my memory isn't what it once was, but I want to say that this particular pipe was under $60, and it's a great buy. Many of my pipes I get are under the $70 mark, many under the $50 mark when I'm looking at freehands. I set a top budget and that's it. I won't go past that. I've lost sometimes a lot of pipes over just a few dollars, and I'm like, oh, I should have bid higher. But you know how that game goes. I bid higher, the next guy's going to bid higher, and all of a sudden a pipe I want that I maybe budgeted $50, $60 for is now gone for $120 because I've gotten into a bidding war with someone. So sometimes I will just let a pipe go. It was meant for someone else, not for me. Freehands, at first I wasn't attracted to, as you all know from yesterday, and I have this one out actually today still. because I actually had smoked one pipe of Bing's tobacco, some Kramer Crooner in there. But I had my Bing out today, and everyone knows how much I love my merchant service pipes and my Bings in particular. But that being said, there is something about the look of a freehand, the feel, the way this feels. I love sandblasted pipes, but I don't know if you all can see that. You see this right here, the shape. It just the way it fits in my hand. It was like it was meant for my hand. You can still taste it even though it went out. This tobacco burns down nice and clear, nice and clean. Now, the disadvantages to this tobacco. Leaves a little bit more dottle in there. It definitely, some of the bottom is a little wet. For those who are wet smokers like myself, you may need to insert a pipe cleaner in there, pull out some of that moisture. You can also do kind of a blowback technique. And if you do a blowback technique, cover your bowl. And for those who aren't familiar with that, to help you try it out, I'll take 2 fingers over my bowl, and then I give a soft blow. See what's happening here? And let's see, I don't know if you can see that. But I'm blowing air back in through the stem and blowing the moisture back into the tobacco. And then, of course, I'm generating more heat. The ember starts going a little more red. And it will help to clear any moisture out of your pipe. So that might be a little trick for some of y'all who have never done that. It was a trick I never picked up on my own. My buddy Cannibal, he suggested it to me. It's a trick that he's been doing for a while, and it's a great trick. I'm going to give a thumbs up to the Lane 1Q and BCA. I think it should be an aromatic on everyone's list. I'm going to give another thumbs up to Karl Erik pipes. Karl Erik is really known for his freehands, but oh my lord, has a variety of other pipes and that are beautiful shapes, beautiful finishes. I've seen some gorgeous, more traditional Danish shapes in his pipes that are stunning. Out of my price point that I'm willing to spend, I'm pretty frugal, so I'm a big believer is if you can afford a Cadillac, you drive a Chevy. If you can afford a $500,000 house, live in a $200,000 house. I think you get my point. But I don't care how much you have. It's not what you have, it's what you spend. So I'm always trying to find ways to save money, whether it's buying tobacco in bulk or buying estate pipes, or just finding more affordable solutions to any of my hobbies so I can enjoy them more. I think it's important for us to enjoy our hobby in a way that best fits us and you're going to get a lot less slack from your wives, your girlfriends, or your other loved ones that you may have. If you're one of our lady pipe smokers, from your husbands or boyfriends or your girlfriends, and for our guy pipe smokers, from your girlfriends, your wives, or your boyfriends. It doesn't matter who you're with. Usually they complain when we're buying too much tobacco or too many pipes. You can help to decrease those if you're not going overboard on your monthly pipe budget. To me, I try to keep my my budget within a certain dollar amount every month, and I won't exceed that. I've been tempted to, but I won't. That is it for today, guys. I just wanted to talk a little bit about aromatics. Since I've started this channel, I've not talked about them. I have only been smoking English blends on here, and I didn't want you all to think that I'm an English-only smoker. I'm not. I was primarily an aromatic smoker. I still enjoy them tremendously, and this is a blend you cannot go wrong with. It is something everybody around you is going to enjoy, and even if you're not an aromatic smoker, give it a shot. Don't start off with a lot of it. See if you can get an ounce of each. Make up 2 ounces of it. That's like a tin's worth of tobacco. And even if it's not your favorite, smoke it all. Even if it takes a year to do it, smoke it all. Smoke it during different times. Let it dry out a little bit more. See what works for you, and you may actually find it something that you enjoy. And having a good smelling, good smoking tobacco is a great thing when you are around others. It will definitely make this hobby more enjoyable for you if you can enjoy it in a lot more situations. So that was my final and closing words on that subject for the day. You all have a blessed day today. Enjoy it. If you're liking what you're seeing, please hit the subscribe, hit the little notification so you see when I release a video. And again, thank you so much for following me and for being part of this new experience for me. And that is it for Southern Santa Piper. Have a blessed day today. Take care.